It is 15:45, the 13th of July, 2024. Good day, everyone, and welcome to Young and Dynamic, your favorite place to be on a Saturday afternoon. Speaking to you is Praise your MC for the day. It's such an amazing and great honor to be here as your MC this afternoon. And thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you're all doing great, and please do let us know how you're feeling this particular afternoon. Type in the chat box how you're doing and where you are connecting from. Well, of course, I am in a hurry and it is awesome if you just let me know where you are as well. Please do keep the comments in the chat box. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Is there anything special that you want to share with us? How did your week go? Yes, please do allow me to extend my warmest welcome regards to our executives in the house and in absentia. A very big shout out to them for their unwavering love and support. Please remember the golden rule. Please remember to keep your gadget at mute at all times. Please make sure that your gadget is muted so that you do not disturb the smooth running of the session. And please do allow me to commit the session unto the Lord before we go any further. Let us pray. Dear God, as we gather in this virtual place, we come with open hearts and with open minds. We thank you for this wonderful time that you've given us to connect and be together as the YND family. Bless us, Almighty, and may our time here be fruitful and productive. May our discussions be guided by wisdom and by understanding from the above. May this session be a source of growth. May it be a source of inspiration for all of us in this house and whoever is going to watch this video sometime later. May we leave this meeting room filled with more connection, feeling more supported and more empowered to make a positive impact in this world. We ask all this in the name of Jesus, our Savior. Amen. So today we have our very own HLF fellows who are in the house and who are also part and parcel of the Young and Dynamic family. I'm so excited to have those guys on the platform, and they're going to be talking to us about SDGs. First up, I'm going to call upon Jeffrey Murungweni to speak to us. Over to you, Jeff.
Great. Thank you so much, Praise. I hope I'm audible enough. Please confirm.
Yes, you're very much audible. We can hear you and we can see your face as well. Good to have you, Jeff.
Thank you so much. And a wonderful afternoon to you, everyone. My name is Jeffrey Takunda Murungweni. I am a student at Africa University pursuing computer science. And as Praise highlighted, I'm an HLF fellow as well, having passed through the Star Leadership Academy in 2019. So I'm from the very first class of the Star Leadership Academy. And it's so awesome to be here on this platform this afternoon. My special gratitude to everyone who's logged on, to the HLF executive, the team behind YND for the opportunity you have given to young people like us to share our stories in how we are also contributing to the SDGs. So I'll just share about one of the projects that I am part of. So I recently started together with two other friends of mine who are also HLF fellows at Africa University. We recently started a startup called Regen Technologies, which is a renewable energy startup. So we focus on designing, developing, and distributing renewable energy technologies. And our first product, which we have worked on, is a pavement tile that generates electricity as from human motion. So as you walk, normally you'd be generating electricity each time you interact with that technology. So we've gotten the opportunity to pitch our idea about 4 weeks ago. We pitched it in Kenya at a global competition called the Hout Prize Nairobi Summit. So it was in the city of Nairobi in Kenya, where there were over 60 teams from across the globe who were at that summit. And we came out first with that particular idea of generating electricity from human motion. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to share much more about, the inspiration behind that, and how we are making use, or how we are inspired rather, by the SDGs in implementing what we are doing. So in Zimbabwe, I know we have people from other countries outside of Zimbabwe, and I'm so happy that you are here. But in Zimbabwe, we've had a challenge of electricity supply, which has seen a number of us crossing over to solar or other, renewable energy sources. But the majority of us, rather, are still, relying on our national power utility company, which is ZESA. And from our statistics, again, across Africa, you see that we have about 55.7% of the entire African population not having access to electricity. Now, that translates to about 640 million Africans who don't have access to the basics of electricity, such as your lighting itself. They don't have access to that. So, with that in mind, it then probed us as a team, the three of us, to then say, how can we improve the power situation not only in Zimbabwe but right across the continent, using a new technology that is not necessarily affected by climate change? And the resource that we looked towards to is the human resource itself. So us as the people. And our question was, how can we then generate electricity by capitalizing on the human traffic itself? So we then came up with a variety of designs, and we finally came down to a particular design for our pavement tile, which we've prototyped. So we are an early stage prototype company. As we speak right now, we've developed a rough prototype which we are fine tuning, but we have been able to prove the concept that indeed we can generate electricity from human motion. So with that idea, and with that background, looking at our African continent and how we have, I think we have the majority of the fastest growing cities worldwide if you look at statistics. So obviously that means we have high human traffic in our cities, and it's projected to continue growing. So we're looking at how we can harness that in order to have a much better supply of power, and improve the access, rather, so that more and more people have access to the basics of electricity. So with this project in mind, we're looking at targeting mainly four SDGs. The first one being SDG number 7, which speaks to affordable and clean energy. So with our design right now, it makes use of so you see that our SDGs are kind of interlinked because of how we've designed it. So on the first one, like I mentioned, on the affordable and clean energy, because of our particular design and the materials that we've used, we've been able to have a lower projected cost of production, as well as a lower projected cost of selling price as well, which makes us a cheaper alternative to the current renewable energy alternatives, such as your solar, and even some companies that have tried to venture out into this kinetic tiles which generate electricity as human work. So that has made us affordable, and because of our design, there is no emission that is involved in the generation of electricity. So unlike coal or your thermal, we have no emissions, right? So that also makes us, a clean energy startup. As we move on to the next SDG goal, which is number 9, which talks about industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Again, this is something that is we are hoping and we believe that will disrupt the renewable energy sector in Africa, as we harness Africa's greatest resource, which is the people itself. So the aspect of innovation then comes in, and how we also support industries through the production, the generation of electricity, which is crucial for any economic growth, because electricity is like the bedrock of an economy. If we also look at our third SDG that we also target, we're also looking at the issue of sustainable cities and communities. So in the world that we are in now, matters of sustainability are now more common. So looking at our waste handling, looking at how we are integrating the digital world into our current physical world, and making sure that that integration does not harm either parties. So that's something again that we are using, because our pavement tile also has some sensors which can generate data, which will be used by our city councils to help improve service delivery, and also making sure that the cities are meeting their sustainability goals. Then the last SDG which our startup is targeting is climate action. Climate change is something that has affected us a lot. Just on a side note, recently I was interacting with a certain fruit vendor who gets his apples from a town called Nyanga. I stay in Mutare, so I'm pretty close to most towns within the Eastern Islands. So I was interacting with this vendor, and he was saying that there are certain apple varieties that we now can't get because the weather is getting warmer and warmer. So he was actually saying, the prestige that Nyanga had of its cold temperatures is fading away. And that is already affecting the kind of crops that can be grown. So Nyanga is commonly known for the crops that need, cold temperatures, like your apples, most of your fruits really. But then some varieties are now being cut out because it's getting warmer and warmer. So climate change for us in Zimbabwe, it might not necessarily be the melting of ice, the rising of sea temperatures, which we hear in like world news, and we then ask ourselves, how does that affect us as Zimbabwe? But if you look at the what can I say? If you look at the crops that we are growing, our food security is at stake because of climate change. And that's why you've seen organizations like, our HLF promoting the aspect of Pumvudza agriculture as a climate smart technology. So climate action is one of the SDGs that we looked at addressing. And we are addressing that first, like I said, our product has no emissions when it comes to the generation of electricity. We've also gone sustainable in terms of the materials that we use. We'll be recycling plastic and rubber waste, which contributes the bulk of the waste that our cities handle. So we are also getting like into an agreement, into a partnership with our local city council of Mutare to partner around the waste management area, where we'll be recycling the waste that they would have collected, hence making sure that we don't have these landfills of non-biodegradable plastics and rubber and all those kind of materials, but we repurpose them and make sure that we are making waste management into a more circular economy, which would be more sustainable. So I think that's basically a bit about us as Regen Technologies and the SDGs that we are targeting. Thank you.
Wow, Jeff, I just can't help but say, wow, wow, wow. This is really amazing. I am so impressed. And this is such a great innovation, my guy. Wow. Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
your team and keep up with the amazing work. Keep up with the good work. Thank you so much for taking your time to be here with us and for sharing with us the good work and amazing work that you're doing. Thank you so much, Jeff. Moving on, I'm
Thank you.
gonna call upon Constance Molaport to share with us what she has prepared for us today. Over to you, Constance.
Hi, confirm I'm audible and you can see me clearly.
Yes, we can see you. You can
Thank
go ahead.
Okay. Hi everybody. My name is Constance Molapo, and allow me to start by saying it's a privilege and it's an honor to be on Y&D today, not as a person who's watching, but as someone who's speaking. So as I've said, my name is Constance Molapo. I'm a proud alumni of Star Leadership Academy like Jeffrey, class of 2023 for me. and I'm currently studying or pursuing my international baccalaureate at Waterford Kamhlaba World United Colleges in Eswatini, where I continue to build on the strong foundation that was laid for me at the Leadership Academy. Now, as a passionate advocate for girls' involvement in STEM fields, I am dedicated to inspiring and empowering the next generation of female leaders and innovators, which I'm particularly involved in. And in addition to my academic pursuits, I am the founder of Electrovesh Growth, which is a venture or a startup that is focused on sustainable agricultural solutions, specifically cyclic electroculture. So I was really excited when I heard Jeffrey talking about sustainable agriculture. And I proudly also serve as part of the Liberty and Integration of Youth Rights Organization, shortly LIDO, in Lesotho. And I can say I work tirelessly to amplify the voices and the rights of young people in my community. So that's basically a brief summary of who I am. Now, I'll be mostly or specifically focusing on the company or the startup that I earlier mentioned, that is Electrovesh Growth. So Electrovesh Growth began as an idea that I had as an ambitious child in grade 11. I believe that was 2022, where I was just walking and I realized that plants that grow next to trees tend to be healthier and stronger than trees that grow normally in our gardens. Now, as an African child, as a Mosotho child, specifically as a Mosotho child, in Lesotho we have a lot of water. We have a lot of land that is credible for agriculture, but we still fail to maximize on agriculture. Hence, we cannot say Lesotho is in its best economic potential because we have so much resources that we fail to maximize on. And I realized that it is not only because we don't have the money, but it's because we also don't have the necessary technologies that will help aid us reach our full potential in different sectors, specifically now focusing on agriculture. So as Jeffrey was talking about climate action, I was really fascinated because we know that SDG 13, that is the one that promotes for climate action and promoting better or sustainable ways in which we can cater or go for agriculture. It's one problem that we have as African countries. It's one problem that we have in Lesotho, where we see that we don't have such technologies that can help us aid in promoting sustainable agriculture. So not only are we deteriorating our land even further because we are implementing uses substances such as fertilizers onto our land, but we are also not doing it in a sustainable manner that will help promote and keep our land healthy for generations and generations to come. So as an African child, this really bothered me. And I thought to myself, one, we continue to use fertilizers onto our soil, and these fertilizers lead to problems such as eutrophication, where we see that algae and other organisms feed on fertilizers, hence promoting carbon dioxide emissions. Hence, we are promoting more climate change within our societies and the depletion of ozone layers. So I thought to myself, not only are we using these fertilizers, but they're not even helping us reach our maximum capabilities in the agricultural sector. So I started going through the internet and seeing better and more sustainable ways in which we can practice agriculture. That's when I came across electroculture. So this is a process whereby you use electricity to grow plants in opposition to fertilizers. This way we reduce the amount of fertilizer consumption that we use in our countries by 70 to 100%. And this also results in a pesticide reduction consumption of 30%. This way we reduce processes such as eutrophication and climate change, as I had earlier mentioned. So what they use is that they use electricity to grow plants in opposition to fertilizers. But then I thought to myself as an African child that even though we can think globally, we have to have a local implementation, but a global mindset. And I thought it is unrealistic for me to say I'm going to use electricity to grow plants in my garden, when I know very well that only about 9 countries in Africa have an electric access rate that is above 50%. One of those countries being South Africa. South Africa, which you and I both know that each and every single day, its citizens are complaining about load shedding. So that is practically unpractical and not feasible. So I thought to myself, I was like, how can we innovate that, or how can we make that more sustainable? That's when I thought, why not make electroculture cyclic? Instead of looking for an external electrical source, let the plants themselves produce electricity. So I am a biochemistry fanatics. I also do biology and chemistry at high level here at Waterford. So I thought, if plants themselves can produce the electricity, why can it not just be channeled to help other plants grow? This way we find a more sustainable way in which we can promote our agricultural practices. This was just an idea, but then I entered a few high school competitions such as the African Science Baskers, the ESCOM Expo International Science Fair in South Africa, where in the African Science Baskets, I won the Grand Award last year in 2023. International Science Fair, the ESCOM International Science Fair in 2022, I won second prize in the agricultural sector. I also attended the Seven Belt Road Maker Camp challenge in China, which we're still thinking about sustainability and finding better ways of practicing agriculture. I also attended the Kenyan Youth Connect conference that is held annually. That was last year, and I was now attending it as an entrepreneur, not only as an innovator, because we realized that many African children have wonderful ideas that can help promote our countries, but we don't know how to bring them into feasibility, or we don't know how to turn them into many money-making machines that will not only help us, but help improve our economies and our country's GDPs at large. So this innovation became an officially registered company this year, January 2024. And what I do is, or what we do as Electroveg Growth, is we go to small farmers in Lesotho, which are actually struggling in maximizing to their land. Then we say to them, we are going to give them 5% of the profit that we gain from practicing electroculture on their field. This way, as we know that there's climate change, sometimes our farmers get a lot of yield. Sometimes the season is not suitable and things are not happening as expected. So they don't fully maximize to their land. But with our technology, they know that each year, even if it's not really a lot, I can get something from the land that I've inherited from my father or something. So it is quite helpful because we are not only feeding our farmers, but we are also giving them some little income for them to help go through their daily lives, because we know that a lot of people are going through poverty within our countries, but they have this land that they can maximize on. Not only does it go to individual people, but it also helps improve the economy of the country, because we are providing, or we are promoting Lesotho, Zimbabwe, and many more African countries into becoming export-driven economies, where they know that we can maximize on our land, we can maximize on our resources to ensure that we increase our GDP and our economy at large. So in the realm, or in the energy of talking about SDGs, we as Electroveg Growth solely focus on, I can say, 3 SDGs. In the primary, focusing on SDG 2 and SDG 1. SDG 1 being no poverty, and SDG 2 being zero hunger. So those two SDGs, as we know, they somehow complementary, because they are talking about, or they are trying to achieve food security and improving nutrition, promoting sustainable, and by promoting sustainable agriculture, specifically in this case, our African continent. So it's all about food security, where we see that many African countries face significant challenges in ensuring food security for their populations. Factors like poverty, lack of access to agricultural resources, climate change, and conflict contribute to high rates of hunger and malnutrition in many of these regions. So that's the Sustainable Development Goal of the United Nations aims for. And we as Electroveg Growth aim to help in achieving that specific SDG. And to add on to what Jeffrey was talking about, I also talked about that it helps achieve Sustainable Development Goal 13, which is climate action, where we see that we have to start evolving and being involved in more sustainable and more environmental friendly practices when it comes to our agricultural processes, because not only do we want to feed ourselves, and not only do we want to become economically well, but then we also want to preserve our land so that our next generations can come back and benefit from the resources that we have been naturally instilled by God. So the implementation of practices such as electroculture, where we use electricity instead of fertilizers, they help keep or preserve our soil to be as healthy as possible. Not only that, but also helping reduce the carbon dioxide emissions that we have, hence climate change and eutrophication. So that is basically all I can say about us as electro-veg growth. But in the midst of the SDG 13, again, I can say it helps Africa focus on enhancing the continent's ability to adapt to the changing climate that we are constantly facing, and actually building resilience to the impacts of what we do onto our environment each and every single day. This way we are reducing disaster risks. We are actually reducing we're actually also reducing ways in which we can harm our environment and the people who are living in our societies at large, and also trying to involve or be more are involved in the implementation or the development of our infrastructure, because such practices help with our economy. And as our economy is improving, we see that we have more money, more resources for us to grow infrastructure-wise and generally economic-wise. So that is basically all about electroculture. And thank you again for this opportunity to talk to you today. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Constance. Thank you so much for taking your time and for sharing with us the wonderful work that you've been doing. And please, 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 this is a shout out to you. Congratulations on your achievements that you've achieved through this innovation of yours, and may you keep going far with this. Congratulations, Constance, and once again, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us. So I'm gonna call upon Sean Chiworeso to move on and speak to us about his SDG. Over to you, Sean.
Okay, thanks. Yes, I'm connected. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm
Good
okay. Confirm
afternoon,
my
Sean.
audio is audible.
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm all right, ma'am. Good afternoon. Okay, thank you so much. So, today, in light of the Sustainable Development Goals, we've heard Constance and we've heard Jeffrey discussing about their big projects in alignment with these SDG goals. And I'd like to say congratulations to Constance and Jeffrey. It's really inspiring when young people like you and me are doing things to contribute to these SDGs. So I'll not highlight much on what SDGs are. They've been pretty much mentioned by Jeffrey and Constance as well. I will just get into my project. So sometime last year in 2023, during my gap year at Star Leadership Academy, oh, by the way, I'm now in lower six at K2 High, an alumni and proud alumni of Star Leadership Academy. Last year, I had a situation. So I got a call. It was at night, and I heard my cousin brother was sick from his mom. He had cancer apparently, and he had just been admitted to Paranath Hospital. And it was a night. I really couldn't do anything much. But by the time I woke up in the morning, and I heard that the whole family was there, including his mother and his father and everyone. I realized that it really was serious. And the worst part of it was the mother stopped going to work because she had to stay with the child. His name was Kodakwashi. She had to stay with the child at the hospital. And I remember I was just in class and we were having discussions in Standard Leadership Academy. And I thought, how could I help them? I really did not have much money that I could give them. I think I had about $3 in my pocket, but I really thought, how much could I help them? It was about the time I really started learning how to design, how to communicate, how to write professional business letters, and how to interact with people in general. And I asked myself, why not put it to a trial? I remember the first poster that I made. Due to time, I won't be sharing it here, but I would have shared it. I remember the first poster that I made. Trust me, it was really mediocre, but the thing is, I did it out of love. I made it so that I could help Kwashe and his mom. Of course, it was a call out for help, asking for donations because he needed something like $3,000 so he could have his operation. Unfortunately, things really didn't go off for Kwashe, and he passed away before I could offer much help. But then I'm really proud that I at least done something to assist. Then apparently another case came on. You know how God works. While I was trying to interact with people and asking for money, they then get to the point where they check up on you and ask, "Oh, is he doing?" and everything. And then unfortunately he passed away. I remember this one lady asking me then, "So who now are you helping?" She passed away, and that's when it really dawned on me. I think that's when the whole mission came to that an organization, Save a Child, which is a child-based organization that focuses to assist families affected by child cancers. So after with Kudakwashi, the lady who asked me, "Who then are you now helping?" redirected me, and I met another family from Blawayo who had a form one girl. Her name was Ashley. She also had cancer, brain cancer, and her case was really serious. And by that time, I'm just a 17-year-old boy. I know nothing about talking to businessmen. I really know nothing about cancer. I really know nothing about the money world in general. But there is always a passion and there's always a fire that keeps burning inside of you, which I would like to believe that is from God. I'll be honest with you, when we started this whole project, it really wasn't driven by the SDG goals. It more was driven by love and the desire to help children and a general passion for children. So fast forward my story with Ashley, and unfortunately, also she couldn't make it, but we really made progress. We managed to take her and her whole family, and she was admitted at Parenia Hospital. Originally, a case needed something like $8,000 for operation, but we solicited and we communicated, and um, thanks be to God, we had government officials stepping in and telling us that she could get treatment from Parenia Hospital charge free. Then after Ashley couldn't make it, she was a very old baby, Nokubonga with a tumor on her left eye. I won't talk much about Nokubonga because pretty much insane. But I'll have to thank God the project because it's really he who gave us this project. So our project, Child, which like I said, focused on childhood cancers and assisting families affected by childhood cancers, really much goes in line with Sustainable Development Goal number 3, which says good health for all people. And to be much specific, on target 3.2, which says by 2030 to prevent the deaths of in general, prevent young children or young people from dying. So the challenges that we really faced, and when I say we, I mean I and my teammates, particularly the people in my code, we really had no money at first. You can much imagine you're trying to help a family that needs somewhat around $8,000, and you're just children. You really have to come up with ways. And again, give acknowledgement to Star Leadership Academy because it really inspired creativity in us. We ended up having events. We ended up um, asking for donations from corporations. We ended up communicating with people, and things really went well in terms of our financial. And secondly, you know that situation where um, I would say you're the first child in your family, and you're only 17, and your parents hear that you're dealing with cancer all of a sudden. It's a really difficult situation for them in their attempt to protect you. It's really a difficult situation for them to really accept. But again, praise be to God that my parents also supported the project, and I really love to thank them for that. So with childhood cancers, it's really not that I or the people I worked with were pretty much certain that we could end child cancers in Zimbabwe. But the whole vision and the whole mission behind this project was that at least we could make a difference. Because the thing with childhood cancers is the earlier it is diagnosed, the earlier it can be treated. And the best thing that we could do to make sure that we contribute is give awareness to people on how childhood cancers can be diagnosed and treated early. For example, I'll give in the case of Nokubonga. She came from a family where she lived with a grandma and a mother, and ever since she was born with cancer, but the way I mentioned, she was only 2 years old. Ever since she was born with cancer, she had always stayed at home. They really never put much effort or put much pressure into getting a professional medical assistant. And I think that really affected it. So that's when you get to realize that once families or once those who are responsible for a child fail to realize or fail to get professional medical assistance, the cancer just gets worse and worse. The solution to child cancers is early diagnosis and early treatment. And there's an organization, Save a Child. We also with children, and we're trying to advocate for other children. We aimed and we worked so that we could raise much awareness about childhood cancers in schools, in our communities, and where we come from. And us being children, we took it as an advantage because since we're dealing with childhood cancers, we're pretty much interacting with other children who are affected by childhood cancers. And it's really easy. Take this case as an example. It's really easy when another child gets into a hospital and communicates or interacts with the child affected by cancer. It's a child to child relationship that's very much different from a child with cancer in the hospital talking or trying to interact with a doctor who's probably holding a big injection or needle. So we use that to our advantage that since we are children, we can also communicate and we can also better relate to children. Right now, the organization, I honestly had to put it on hold, but that does not mean that it is stopped. I put it on hold because I had to focus on my work first and right now history and biology with the hope of me venturing into medicine in the future so that further my studies in cancer research and everything. So that was pretty much about my project's greatest achievement was being able to raise money for these three families. I remember once when Bonga's grandmother was telling me is no father or alpha to take care of us. You really got to a point where you became the man of the house. And I wouldn't want to give all the credit to me, but I would like also to thank Star Leadership Academy, my parents, and the people around me. And above all, I would love to thank God. So with my project, early diagnosis of cancer, early treatment, that's the way to go. And that's how we can assist with child cancers and SDG number 3, good health for all people. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much, Sean. That was beautiful. That was very, very
Hello.
beautiful. It was insightful. So praise has temporarily dropped, but I would like to introduce our next speaker, that is Panache. Hi, Panache.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Over to you.
Okay, great. I'm just waiting for the technical team to share my slide. Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Panache Pemiwa, and I'm very happy to be here today to talk with you. And I'm just gonna say that I'm also a star leader from the class of 2019. And hearing what other young people are doing, I'm really inspired by the work that they are doing. And I'm just going to just add on what they said. And you can actually see how young people are really, doing different things, different aspects. So today I'm going to talk about Hibiscus Dottage Foundation, and the SDGs. So basically, that's what I'm going to talk about. But what is it that we do, and so that you get to understand. So Hibiscus Dottage Foundation, it's an organization that was founded in 2020. We realized that it's quite easier for two parents, to take care of 8 children, but 8 children cannot really give back the same love to those parents. And even in our society in general, yes, people, they say the future is youth, and that's true. But for me, when I was sitting down, I was saying, if we say that the future is youth and excluding people who gave birth to the future, we are missing something else. So I believe that the future is for everyone else, regardless for the age. So what is it Hibiscus Dottage Foundation is trying to do? We have realized that in our society, there are a lot of stereotypical beliefs associated with elderly people. Like, for example, most of us here, we are no longer visiting our grandparents, anagogo, and sekuru, maybe because vanonetsa, maybe some of those harsh comments like vanoroya, you know what I'm saying? So realizing the loneliness, and also the how the elderly people are being treated. We just said, what if you come up with an organization that with a vision to create a world where elder adults are cherished, living happily, and surrounded by love, with everyone playing an active role in the society. So basically, that's what we are doing at the Hibiscus Dottage Foundation. And our services ranges from visiting, empowering, counseling, and also campaigning, because we want to promote elderly wellness. So next slide, please. So basically what you're going to do, I'm just going to explain how does this work that you are doing link or maybe contribute, link with the SDG goals. So at Hibiscus Dottage Foundation, we align our services with the UN SDG goals, specifically focusing on 4 of them. Which is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, and reduced inequalities. So how are we promoting no poverty? How are we promoting zero hunger? What is it that you are doing? Next slide, please. I just want you to get to see how are we doing it at the Hibiscus Dottage Foundation. So Hibiscus Dottage Foundation uses what we call a tripartite intervention system, where we are saying, 1, we need to advocate for the stereotypical beliefs associated with the elderly. At the same time, we need to educate the community and also have some direct interventions. So what is it that we are doing under zero hunger? So we have what we call community gardens. So we've noticed that within the societies, there are some active elderly who can who can actually do something from a gardens. So you find out, like, for example, in Fakose, there's an area where a lot of people have different gardens, right? So what we are doing there as Hibiscus Dottage Foundation, we are supporting those community gardens. How are we supporting them? This elderly, we go there as young people, and we go help with preparing the land, we supply them with the seeds, and we even go and help with harvesting. That's one thing that we are doing. And also, what else are we doing under zero hunger? We are having what we call direct intervention, where we have meal programs. So under meal programs, we are saying, with the little that we have, young people, what can we do to help the elderly? I don't want to lie to you. The elderly that we face each and every day. Sometimes I still remember this elderly that we met, like in Fakose. She was cooking she was boiling water with salt, and she said that I've been doing this for the past week. Imagine. And we just said, oh no, man, what can we do using what we have? That's when we started to do donations, fundraising, and then that's how we are contributing by direct intervention. What else are we doing? We have what we call a program called Food Banks, where we partnered with different organizations such as Zacro. Zacro focuses with the elderly in prison. So we are going to be donating food and also encouraging people to just give, using whatever they have. And also, last but not least, which is nutrition education. We are young people, and sometimes in our homes, we're living nana gogorana secure. Most of them want warm water, want something that is nutritious, in the morning, in the afternoon. So we are also educating young people on how can they be responsible young people, taking care of the elderly that they live with. Next slide, please. So another SG goal that you want to that we focus on, like at Hibiscus Village Foundation. So Hibiscus Village Foundation, let me just explain what is it that we focus on, the 4 pillars. So one of the things, we have what we call elderly welfare, where we use an holistic approach, where we are looking at an elderly and see what is it that they have, the life, the people that they live with, the meals that they take each and every day, and then we see how best can we help them. So under good health and well-being, we are looking at elderly people. Look at those words that are being said by people, and say gogo wako wanoroya, and some of these elderly, they're living a very sad and lonely life, and we're asking ourselves as young people, that does it mean that, I'm really shocked how our parents right now, they are loving us, but as they grow, we then tend to say that now vanoroya. So does it mean that the love that these people have, it fades away as they grow, or maybe as they age? So we're trying to challenge those theoretical beliefs. So under mental health support, we are saying, yes, everyone is talking about the mental health of young people, everyone is talking about the mental health of boys and girls, but what about the elderly? Do you really consider, imagine just giving birth to 10 children and no one is even supporting you? So basically, that's what we are going to be doing under mental health and support. And we are having healthcare access. So basically, that's what we've noticed, that some of the elderly people that we are working with, they have these challenges that they have. So how are we promoting healthcare access? We know that go another Jackson, maybe another pills for BP, another fruits and something. So we then partnered with some people goodwill. Like for example, we go to Pastor Munashi and say, Pastor Munashi, we have this go atina vanda period $5. Are you willing to donate each and every month $5? So this is how we are promoting healthcare access to the elderly. And also some exercise program where we just go and say, go, let's just have exercise, and then we walk with them and just we have fun. So basically, this is what we are doing under good health and well-being. Next slide, please. Yes. And then another thing, we are saying, we as Hibiscus Village Foundation, we are looking at the world, where we are looking at a person not by the color of the skin or their age or their gender, but we just want to look everyone with an holistic approach, where we are saying we are all equal, right? We need to be able to reduce inequalities within and in among the societies. So what are we doing under these reduced inequalities? So basically, we're advocating, like, for these theoretical beliefs. It starts with you as an individual. What is your perspective? What do you think when you see elderly people? What do you say? What are you saying? Are you a responsible person? Even in your house, what are you doing? So we are advocating. We have visited 100 schools last year, and we're also doing a lot and having different clubs, that are also having advocacy and awareness. And also we have what we call inclusive programs, where we are saying that we need to come together, people who are in universities, people who are in schools, people in the society, on how best can we create environment in which everyone is appreciated, an environment in which everyone feel like, yes, this is what I need to be. And also we have community engagement. So we've partnered with different elderly people's homes, where we just go, if you can see, those are ladies who are just sweeping at an elderly people's home there in Highfield. So we are saying, let's come together. Mind you, let me tell you one thing, as young people, we are saying that to achieve these things, the SDG goals, we don't need, yes, we understand that right now we are not working, but what we have is our skills. I can write, I can speak, I can dance, I can sweep, whatever you can do, we can use that to bring change in our society. So as the Hibiscus Village Foundation, we are coming from a point where we don't have anything, where we don't have money, but we have a willing heart, a heart of service, a heart of making someone's life better. So basically, that's what we are doing. So we are working towards helping people in different societies. Next slide, please. All right. So there's also another aspect that I didn't include, in terms of quality education. So at the Hibiscus Village Foundation, remember I said we have 3 pillars, one which is elderly welfare, and then the second one where we are saying interwoven lives. We have noticed that when we visit elderly people, some of them, they're living with Zukuru, these are grandchildren. You know what really happens in the society? Sometimes when we make mistake, right, we then use these elderly people as a way, to take care of our children. And we leave these children with little or no support. So sometimes we've noticed that, yes, we are here to help the elderly. We are here to help Gogo or Sekuru. But we have a child here that is not going to school, a young girl who doesn't even know about health, healthy education, hygiene, and stuff. So we have said, all right, no, because of our partnership with this elderly, we need to come up with a program that is going to help young people living with elderly. Hence, a branch called Interwoven Lives. So because of our partnership with that elderly, that's where quality education for all that is. So we are now linking these children with organizations. For example, then say Highlight Foundation. I know you have a scholarship, but here's our children who are not going to school, and we also have one dollar campaign by God knows Mgadui, where we are saying let's raise money to help these children who are not going to school. And some of these children, they don't have someone to look up to. They are being raised by the streets. So we then now link them by the people in universities and say, this is a young girl, she's in primary, but you can start to mentor them. So this is an approach that you are doing. And then last but not least, what we are doing at Hibiscus Foundation, we want to work with everyone, So we have another branch which is called Volunteer Experience. We have realized that, yes, we are working to improve the well-being of the elderly, but we are working with young people. So we are saying we need happy volunteers. So how are we making sure that our volunteers are happy? We are saying, yes, in as much as we take care of the elderly, we also care about our volunteers. So we are advocating for a process where we are saying that let's volunteer at the same time creating your own profile. What can you start doing right now? So this is the slide that I'm going to explain. Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change that you wish to see in the world. By this time, we're saying, be the change that you wish to see in the country, that you are in the community. But how does that start? You start with your family. What are you doing with your family? Are you helping young people with the homework that they are coming with the school, your former school? Go back there and say something, your community. So at the Hibiscus Foundation, we are encouraging young people. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention, I'm an engineering student studying geomatics engineering by the University of Zimbabwe, also the faculty representative for engineering at the University of Zimbabwe. So yes, volunteer. We want people who can volunteer, who can participate and engage. And right now, starting maybe probably next year, we're going to have attachment people coming in so that we can get to help each other and see how best can we change our society. So basically, how is Hibiscus Foundation contributing, toward these SDG goals? We have noticed that it is the duty for each and everyone. It's also going to matter on how are we going to do. So next slide, please. We want to be able to work together and say, let's make someone's life better. Let's make someone's life, worthy living. Just put a smile on someone. So at Hibiscus Foundation, right now, we are now nationally recognized. We're on a verge of launching branches in different provinces. We are saying, young people, let's come together and help our elderly people. It's just 1 hour of volunteering. So some of these elderly people, they have a lot of wisdom. A simple thank you from one elderly can just change your life. Imagine all the prayers that they make. So basically, that is what Hibiscus Foundation is doing. There's also empowerment within Hibiscus Foundation, where we are saying, you know what, young girls, young boys, what can we do? If you don't know how to speak, we teach you how to speak. If you don't know how to write, we teach you. We're not only helping elderly, but you're saying, what can we do? Coming up with innovative ways to better lives. And right now, we're also in a process. You're going to see, the results. You're also in the process under the Zero Hunger goal number 1, where we are saying, and where we are saying, we need to be able to empower the elderly. Well, sometimes it's not really enough to just come with food and then say, go, this is the food, and then we take pictures and then we go. We are saying no to that. We are saying, how can we define impact in our own way? So we have seen with the different elderly, this is what we need to do. So we have started a program on the Musika for all. You're going to see how that is going to work. For those who want to know what you're doing at Hibiscus, I'm going to share the link in the chat box. Just join that group and the respective team will inbox you. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. I'm really amazed by what young people are doing. Thank you very much. Over to you, Praise.
Thank you so much, Panashe. Before you go, you really need to hear this. It probably passed you. Somebody in the chat box is saying, wow, just wow, I love your energy. You can practically sell a cat to a mouse. I don't know how true that is, but yes, I also love the energy. Thank you so much, Panashe, for what you've been doing. And I, for one, am one of those people who actually want to join your organization. So please, may you share with us how we get to join your organization? Because I've seen so many people in the chat box who are asking, how do they join your organization? And I've noticed that you are in Harare, so maybe we could get to be a part of a greater cause. So please, Panashe, share with us how we may join your organization.
Okay, great. So Ibisa Doresh Foundation is for everyone because I believe that everyone is a volunteer. But you only need three things. One, you need the heart, you need the energy, and you just need to be someone who's willing to make change, someone who's willing to contribute. So at Hibiscus, we don't have things like, subscriptions where we need you to pay. No, because the time that you're going to volunteer is also your subscription. So what are we saying? We are saying if you want to be part of Hibiscus Dorej Foundation, I'm going to post the WhatsApp link. In this WhatsApp link in the chat box, if you join, there's someone who's going to be explaining whatever that you're going to do. So there's an application process that it goes through. At Hibiscus Dorej Foundation, there are three types of volunteer. There are volunteers that I just want to be wow and take pictures, and then there are those who just want to be diehards who are saying, you know what, Panashe and the team, I'm part of this. I'm willing to make something happen. And then there are those who just like to update their LinkedIn profile and say, you know what, guys, I'm part of Hibiscus and stuff. So we want those because this is what we need. Maybe one day you're going to be inspired. So we are looking for everyone, someone who's willing to make change. And one thing about the Hibiscus Village Foundation, we are looking for someone who's saying, Panashe, what is it going to be said about me at Hibiscus Village Foundation? Because when I'm here, I'm talking about my own experience. So I'm going to challenge you as an individual and say, if you join Hibiscus, what is it that is going to be said about you? Are you going to be told, oh, because praise joined Hibiscus and because of praise, we have helped 20 girls. So this is the narrative that we are looking for. We are not looking for followers. We are looking for leaders because someone who's willing to say, today in my community, Panashe, this is what we are doing. So at Hibiscus, the Hibiscus experience is what you make of it. Someone might see it as, this is just people, young people coming together. By the way, it's not a group of people, it's a registered organization. That is, all the papers are there. So we are saying this is something professional. So you're saying bring all the energy as long as you want to be someone who's a history maker, because when you say we are doing it, hey, by the way, yes, this is the energy to Hibiscus. I think you can see it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Panashe. And I loved that part where you said you are looking for leaders. You're looking for people who can bring something onto the table and who can change whatever narrative that they can have so that those people can be helped. I'm really, really inspired by this. Thank you so much once again. And I'm really hoping that Pastor Panashe is in the house. Pastor Panashe, are you in the house?
Absolutely. I am in the house. How are you doing, Praise?
I'm doing great. Good to see you. Good to see you. And I just want to leave this time to you. Maybe you have something that you want to say due to the session that we've just had with the wonderful leaders that were in the house. Over to you, Pastor Mnash.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just thank you very much, Praise and Nobantu, for doing such a great job. And thank you to all our facilitators today, our guests who took time to prepare their talk and the initiative that they have taken to just contribute to the development of the continent. So to everyone who is here, it's just a word of encouragement. Last 2 weeks, we have been having a session with Dr. Mcheri where we were unpacking the sustainable developmental goals. And the four young people here who are just like you are a testimony of what you can do at your level. When we say that you can start with what you have, you can start where you are. This is what we mean. You don't have to start by building a spaceship to go to space. You don't have to, it's not rocket science. It's the basic things. Sean talked about just the love for people and how he wanted to assist and come through. So what are you passionate about? What do you see as a challenge in your community that you can start responding now? And you can come up with a simple business model that will help you to start doing something in your community. Constance talked about how she observed that plants that are growing under tree are more healthier than the ones that are in our gardens, right? Simple, basic things that will allow you to start thinking about how can I do this a better way? Is there a better way of doing this? And what can humanity achieve out of this? So I'd like to encourage you, wherever you are, there are challenges, there are problems that we are facing. If you can't find them, go on the internet or revisit our sessions that we did with Dr. Mcheri on sustainable developmental goals. Those particular goals are responding to a specific challenge. So you want to start from there and then come up with a model that will help you, that will help your community respond to the challenges that we have. So I hope this has encouraged you as a young person. And this week and the following weeks, you are throwing yourself into action. You are thinking about how can we do this differently? How can we respond to our challenges? You're curious about something and you are starting to come up with ideas of how you can respond to the challenges that our community, that our nations, that our continent is facing. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. Let's meet again next week. Let me hand over time to Praise before I do the closing for her.
Oh, you
Praise,
can do the
thank you very
closing,
much,
Pastor
over to you.
Munashi.
All right.
Okay, so thank you so much, Pastor Munashe, and thank you so much for everyone who joined and connected today. We thank you for your consistency in joining the Young and Dynamic. Young and Dynamic continues next week, same place, same time. And once again, thank you to Jeff, thank you to Constance, thank you to Panashe, and thank you to Sean. Thank you so much, guys, for being here.